We're joined now by Mr. William Spring, a political analyst who's joining us over the phone. Mr. Spring, in Moldova, voters are now faced with a choice to either vote for a party that's going to take the country closer to the EU or Russia. What do you think the decisive factors are that will determine practically what way the people will choose to vote?
I think the main issue is actually over the border in Ukraine, because what's happening in Moldova seems to be a sort of parallel scenario to what's been happening in Ukraine. Now, if the good people of Moldova think that the current model in Ukraine is good for them, well, then they should go for it. That means voting for the pro-EU parties. But all that happened in Ukraine is disorder and partition and chaos and economic destruction. And this has been the purpose of, I'm afraid, the EU and the West in seeking to dismember the former pro-Soviet sort of peripheral republics around the border with Russia. Now,
and given that, how do you think the people will vote tomorrow? Which direction do you think they're going to go?
Well, I don't know what direction they're going to go, but what I would strongly advise Moldovans to do is not to believe EU or NATO propaganda, because they will not get, the promised land will not arrive once they sign or get candidate status in the EU. The EU is most likely to break up anyway before they ever get candidate status. Russia, on the other hand, is a pretty solid bulwark and has been showing itself willing to support Russian speakers in Ukraine.
And you're saying that obviously that the crisis in neighbouring Ukraine is affecting very much how the people would maybe decide to vote and which direction you think they might go. Do you think that if the EU parties were to win the vote, that could somehow spark some sort of protest from the other side?
Well, I mean, yes.
Or vice versa?
Yeah, it might spark protest. On the other hand, the other side seems to be far more constitutionally orientated than the pro-EU parties. I mean, it was because the pro-EU parties in Ukraine were unlikely to win next year's elections that the EU pulled the plug on a constitutional settlement in Ukraine and carried out a coup. And but I don't think the Communist Party in Moldova would actually want to do that in Moldova. I think they would wait to see what happened, because it seems to me that pro-EU Liberal Democratic parties, so-called, are digging themselves into a deeper hole than they realise. This is a very serious situation. There is no shortcut to prosperity for the East European states. Association with the EU is not going to bring that prosperity. The EU itself is in a moribund state and losing its credibility by the day.
Yes, Mr. William Spring, I'm going to have to stop you there because we are running short of time. But thank you very much for joining us. A political analyst joining us over the phone from London.